Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are once again looking at another devblog in War Thunder, and this is another one for the upcoming crafting event, or the Build-A-Bear event, and basically it is going to be a lower ranked vehicle. This is the Sd.Kfz.251, and it is the first of what hopefully is many of these half-track variants into the game. The 251 was massively used by the Germans, and therefore I think there will be a ton of modifications to see. This is obviously the first. They've also seemed to have named the event Strategist, which could mean many different things, so I'm looking forward to see what strategies are going to be involved. I hope that there is, some kind of thing, as we talked about the other day. It would be nice to see some kind of testing arena. Maybe even there will be like a pie in the sky idea, such as maybe there's a map and then you have to go and search different areas of the map for key parts. For me personally, that would be really cool, but also I understand that's, going out the box a little bit. But anyway, let's get into the 251 and specifically the 10, just to talk about its history. So this machine, the 251 overall, it was developed on the basis of an unarmored Sd.Kfz.251 half-tracked. It entered service with the Wehrmacht in 1939, and the main reason it exists is for transportation of Panzer Grenadier units of the German army. So the vehicle was intended to taxi troops into battle and protect them from small arms fire and shrapnel, and by the end of the war, over 15,000 of the Sd.Kfz.251s were built. These were a key part of the blitzkrieg tactics. Basically what would happen is you would have the tanks as a spearhead, and then in order for the infantry to keep up with the tanks making the breakthrough, you would have units like the 251 to be able to follow them. So instead of units being on the ground and walking, which obviously a few other nations, struggled with in certain areas, like Italy, they struggled fielding a ton of mobile infantry troops. What the Germans cracked was the idea of a fast-moving force, and the 251 was definitely a large part of that. Platoon leader vehicles, though, would receive a special upgrade to their firepower in order to increase the effectiveness of fire support provided for advancing infantry as well, and namely the standard machine gun mounted was replaced by a turret housing a 37mm pack anti-tank cannon, and these versions were called the 251-10, the one that you see before you, and this served with the Wehrmacht until 1944, by which time over 300 units were built. And so you can see that this wasn't widely produced, 300 units out of 15,000, but it's still a decent amount and definitely should be represented in the game. The good thing about this vehicle, even though it is just a rank 1, is that it also has premium attached to it. So therefore it is going to get the bonuses of premium, obviously some SL bonuses, some RP bonuses, which will be really nice on it. And with this 37mm, this 37mm is going to have a really good fire rate on top of it. So even though this thing probably won't have a ton of armor, you're talking about up to 14.5mm of armored plating for this machine, angled in certain areas, but obviously where the key people exist, basically just under the gun there, it's going to be really easy to knock this machine out. Any autocannon machine is going to be able to take this out pretty quickly. But the 37mm is still very good at lower tiers, whether it be German or whether it be American with stuff like the Stuarts. It does pack a good penetrating punch. It does have a really nice general effect after penetrating, and with the reload time on top of it, it just gives it that extra kick. Because it's also wheeled at the front and tracked at the back, this does give it an extra advantage over some of its wheeled compatriots, such as the 234, because it should be better in worse conditions. So stuff like snow, stuff like mud, the 251 should be able to move around at a decent click. Generally, when we have a look at the 251 as well, the maximum speed of this thing should be around 50 kilometers per hour. It has a power to weight of 12.5 horsepower per ton, depending on obviously which variant you look at. And as talked about before, yes, the standard one was mounted with an MG. So there one that was mounted with an MG, I highly doubt we're going to get into the game. Kind of like, you know, with the 234s, you know how we have like the 2, the 3, and the 4, the version with the 50mm, the version with the short 75, and the version with the long 75. Well, there is also the 2341, which is the same design but with a 20mm, and I would be kind of surprised if we see that. Maybe we see it in the future, but it's just, you know, a 20mm autocannon. We already have plenty of them in the German tech tree. So I feel like with the 251, we're going to get some of its more variants, which are designed obviously for tank killing instead of anything else. Now, the main issues with stuff like this is it can get killed by planes in about a second, which is going to be a bit of a problem. Looks like, at least by the video, it's going to have about a crew of 4 in it, 3 in the back, and obviously 1 as the driver. No really particular armor or anything like that. Artillery is going to bully this in a large way, but if you can get the jump on the enemy with your 37mm, you should be able to take them out, you know, pretty well. Also, pretty good gun depression and all of that. It would have been kind of nice to see a machine gun mounted on the back, kind of similar to how the Nashorn has machine guns mounted on the side of it for a little bit more cover. I feel like that could have been something which this machine was given as well, just to give it, you know, maybe a little bit of support against stuff such as planes which are going to annihilate us. So we talked about 15,000 of them made. Now, there was a ton of different variants of this thing which were built, which you would expect. Many of them, they varied in stuff such as they were able to carry radios. There was also a few with stuff like light field howitzers, like the 2514s, and it would be cool to see stuff like that. You know, the 2514s, these ones carried, or these ones actually towed stuff like 50mm Pak 38, 75 Pak 40s, stuff like that. And then you even had stuff like the 2515, which was an assault engineer vehicle, and it's mainly had, you know, stuff which was once again designed to actually make bridges and things, which is just kind of interesting to see. And you even had stuff such as the 2517, which was able to carry assault bridge ramps on the side of it. And the main ones I'm going to focus on is obviously the anti-tank ones, because those are going to be the ones that, you know, we may see in game. So the first thing, obviously we have this vehicle, the 25110, but there are other versions. This one was probably the one that I thought we were going to see the most. This is the 25122, and it has the 75mm Pak 40 L46, which a lot of you guys are very much used to. Not many of these were made. It was very much a late war modification of, oh god, they're coming, let's try and see if we can fit the 75 on anything we can. So this is easily another version that we could see, and one that I thought personally would be the one which we would see first in the game of the 251. Then there is another one. This is the 2519, and this is kind of the howitzer, another howitzer version, I suppose you'd call it. But this has the 75mm L24 low velocity gun, the one that you find on the Stug 3. So pretty much, you know how the 234, as I said before, has like the 50, the 75, and the 20mm version. The 251 is no different. You know, it has pretty much all of these as well, depending on where you want to have a look and what variants you are looking at. So this won't just be the end of the line for a vehicle like this. This, to me, is probably going to be a new step into what, you know, this new line of Sd.Kfzs. Another thing to also mention is, since we've had, you know, the Devblog on the Berezniak Isayev. The Berezniak Isayev is coming into the game at rank 5. It also is coming in without premium bonuses, it seems. There isn't anything mentioned about premium bonuses for it, so that's going to be a high-ranking strategist vehicle, where the Sd.Kfz.25110 being a rank 1 and premium, it looks like they're going for the same ideas as before. So they're going to have a bunch of vehicles, and for this crafting event, some of them low tier, some some of them high tier. My guess is it'll be like you have to craft 2 Sd.Kfzs in order to build a Brezhnev Isayev. That's generally seems how it's worked before. You know, it's how it happened with the space race, how it happened with Operation Shipyard, and also I believe Battlefield Engineer as well. So I highly doubt with this Strategist event we're going to see too many different mechanics, but whenever it is announced, whenever it is talked about, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. The main thing is, I just hope they don't do what they did with the space race, because if you don't know what happened with the space race event, they announced it the day it started. That was a little bit crude, if I'm honest with you. It would have been nice to have a little bit of preparation, and it's nice to know that we have these devblogs, because it gives us an idea of this event coming soon. But as I said, hopefully we'll see the full details of the event first, and at least given a few days of preparation before the event starts. As always, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Trigger Hippie, Universe, Conte Baraka, Elove Goat, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Hans, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.